Okay, so it is currently like 9 o'clock p.m. That's not super late, but that's just typically how my days have been going lately. So just for further clarification on what I've been up to lately, my day is pretty much split into 3 separate parts of my business. There's the content portion, the brands portion, and the agency portion. The first part of my day, I typically like to spend doing more of the content side of my business, which then I'll move into the brands, e-commerce brands that I'm running. There's currently 2 of them. There's some one-off products that I'm still working with on Amazon, deciding if I want to continue to sell those or not. But mainly what I want to focus on is these 2 brands that I'm trying to build, both on and off Amazon. So on Amazon, but also with the Shopify store included. Trying to just be able to build those brands kind of omni-channel where they're everywhere. They're actual brands that I want to build. Part of the issue with Amazon is that when you build those products, a lot of times you're not branding them. You're just making products that you're trying to sell on Amazon. Not saying that's the way that everybody does it, but typically if you're doing private label, you have a whole catalog of products. None that you're necessarily trying to like scale and brand. But I personally feel like the way that Amazon FBA is going is gearing itself way more towards actual branding. And I think you play it a lot safer that way too, because then your eggs aren't all in one basket on Amazon. You're able to have sales through Shopify. You're able to build a brand, you know, socially on Instagram and TikTok. And that way, if Amazon starts to dip on you a little bit, you have options. It's more scalable, it's more sellable that way. And frankly, it's just more fun to do it that way too. But I will say my expertise is still in Amazon, so I focus highly on Amazon. It's still where I see the most sales for my brands, but I am actively trying to grow those brands both on and off Amazon. So after I work on those brands every day, then I focus on my agency for the last portion of the day. As you may know, Seller 360. I spend a lot of time there as head of marketing. My goal is to just let everybody know about it and explain why it can absolutely benefit your Amazon FBA business. It's been a lot of fun trying to build that company, build it up, to provide that service to other Amazon FBA sellers like myself. But all in all, that's just kind of the day in and day out. My brain handles things very segmented, so it makes it easier for me to kind of segment my day out, to compartmentalize things. So the first part of my day, the content, then my e-commerce brands, then the agency. It always keeps me on my toes. It makes, you know, work different every day. And with an ADD brain like myself, I structured it that way on purpose, so I'm not focusing on one thing for too long, but that I can hyper focus for a couple hours on this, then move to the next thing, then move to the next thing. It just works better for me that way, but that's kind of how my day is structured lately, and I've been very happy with it so far. It's not to say that it might not change in the future, but right now I'm just kind of excited about where it's at. I love my work day, and I'm just genuinely excited to get up and to work on these things and to be passionate about what I'm doing. And you know, hopefully I start to see growth in all different aspects of my business. But for right now, that's part of the grind. That's what I'm doing every day, I guess. So let's get back to work. Okay, so I'm out here getting my oil changed in my car right now. I go to these like smaller shops around the city because I feel like they do just like a little bit better of a job. I don't know. I just feel like I've been screwed over by one too many of like the big auto shops. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. Anyways, just a little more context for this video. So I have a college degree. I went to a full 4-year college, got my degree in digital media. But after I got my bachelor's degree, even all that time through college, I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do. I started out in like radio, and then I moved into TV a little bit, and then I started working in professional sports on the digital media side of that. And it was really fun, and I got a lot of good experience, but I never really knew what I wanted to do. Eventually, I jumped from that into more of like the marketing side of things. I started doing digital advertising for a big company here in Utah. And I feel like that is the point. Although I didn't really like that job a ton, that's kind of where I got like my taste of digital advertising and the e-commerce space, and kind of just found a love for that. But what's funny is I feel like it took like 4 years of college and a couple years in the workforce to really even figure out what I wanted to ultimately do. So anyways, fast forward a couple years and I land my absolute dream job. I'm working with a buddy of mine who has started a marketing agency, and I'm kind of brought in as somebody to work on the ground floor. They bring me in as a paid ads manager, so I'm getting to do, what I'm used to in paid advertising, but I'm getting to be brought in on the ground floor. So I'm working with a small company, and I'm one of the first couple employees of this company. So just like the ceiling is so high, and I get to wear so many different hats, and it's just like a dream situation for me. I'm getting to put in a little bit of like creative work in there. I'm doing a lot with paid advertising, obviously, working with clients, getting a ton of experience and exposure to the business. And it was really kind of the first time I'd ever felt like I could see myself with a company like long term. So I was really, really excited about that. But unfortunately, like with most good things, every good thing has to come to an end at some point. My position ended up getting dissolved at that company, long story short, which was very unfortunate. I was pretty devastated at that point, I think. But it did help me realize one very important thing about myself. And it was basically that I just realized at that point that I wanted to start a business. I wanted to be a business owner. I felt like I had the skills built up at that point to where if I could really hone in on e-commerce, that could be something that I could do really well in. And when you lose your job, that's kind of like the tipping point. That's like being pushed off the edge. You're constantly like, well, when am I gonna be ready to do this? When you have the luxury of having a job and wanting to start a side hustle, it's like, you put your time and effort into a full-time job, but then you're kind of doing the side hustle on the side. Sometimes it's hard to get it off the ground that way. This was a blessing and a curse. It was a curse because I lost the first job I ever truly loved and cared about, but it was also a blessing because that was the full push, the shove over the edge to get me to start my own business. That's when I jumped into Amazon FBA, started learning from Trevin. If you know anything about my channel, that's kind of the rest is history. I've been doing Amazon FBA for about 2 years now, and that has just basically springboarded into the other aspects of my business as they stand today. And it's just something that I'm very excited about. I'm excited about the next couple months, close out the year. I'm excited about the next year, all the things that I'm trying to do. But the one thing that I constantly focus back on and I look back on that I'm so happy about is the fact that my wife's business was doing well enough at the point of me getting laid off that I was able to make this leap, because I understand that not everybody's in that position. If you lose your job, a lot of times that's your complete income and it's like you're back down to zero, so you gotta make money in order to pay bills. I was lucky enough to be in a position to where my wife's business had reached the point that it could be sustainable for us, where it could like cover our bills and then not much else beyond that. So it was definitely scary, but all props to her to building up her business as fast as she did, to making it to where we can live at least somewhat comfortably while I continue to work on my business. Forever grateful to her for that. So, am I a millionaire yet? No. Do I consider myself on my way? Absolutely. And a lot of people can say that that's a cop-out or that that's just wishful thinking or whatever. But when I talk about like financial goals for myself or anything like that, the purpose of it always has been and always will be just freedom of my time. Money, anything that comes along with that is just a means for me to have time to live life the way that I want to live. So I don't know if I necessarily believe in anything like manifestation or anything like that, but I definitely do believe in the power of positivity and hard work and focus. And I feel like that's what the rest of this year going into next year is going to be for me. That's going to be my main goal, is just focusing on what I have in front of me, my business as it stands, and just continuing to try to grow that. It's what I'm passionate about, it's what I'm the most excited about, and it's what I believe will get me to that status, both financially and career-wise, that I'm trying to get to. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I'm excited to keep making these videos. I'm excited to keep you updated on the brands as they grow, the agency as that grows, and the content that I just love making. Hitting almost 5,000 subscribers, as like minuscule as that seems to so many people, felt so out of reach for me for so long, because I wanted to be a content creator, but I kept letting so many things get in the way of me actually starting my channel and starting to make videos. There were always excuses to not do it. So the fact that I received any support from you guys, just know that it means the absolute world to me. I'm so grateful for this channel. I'm so grateful for the amount of subscribers that I have, and I hope to continue to provide you with any sort of value that I can with these videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.